Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is time for The Time. Okay, I've always wanted to start the show that way, but my producer said no. But today, I'm a rebel because I'm particularly excited about today's topic. Anyway, my name is Pelumi Buari.
And I am the beautiful Victoria Gray.
All right, let's get down to the topic of the day. So we're talking about sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things
and the bad things that may be.
Is it a week with B?
Sorry. That's where the
fine.
lyrics have ended. Anyway, I'm here with my pen because I'll be jotting down a lot of things.
Yep.
Because today we're talking about sex, and not just sex, juicy sex. So we're talking about the importance of juicy sex in marriages and relationships. And to help us break this topic apart,
To digest
dissect it, to help us digest it and help us understand better, we have brought on board a certified clinical sexuality coach. The title is very long. And also a master sexpert. So you might know her as Sex Talk with Soul Spice, but we on this show are going to be welcoming Hannah Jonathan.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here. See, I'm excited though.
We're all excited.
Hey,
Pelumi's husband, if you're watching
pray
this,
for my husband because
good luck.
when I go home today after this topic,
It is over for you.
he's gonna feel it.
Nigerian version of Grey's Anatomy. Not Grey's Anatomy. What is it? 50 Shades of Grey.
This is gonna be. He's gonna see 60 shades of Pelumi when I get home. Anyway, so good to have you, Hannah Jonathan.
Thank you.
Welcome. Are
It's-
you ready?
It's actually
Actually,
so
I feel
calm.
like she
always
should be
ready.
asking us, are you guys ready?
Please ask us. Please ask us if
Are we
we're
ready?
ready.
Are you ready?
I hope so.
Hopefully.
Because I carry wetness everywhere I go.
Jesus.
I
is
drip
special.
water. I drip water.
Me, I drip glory. I'm jotting down.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have to ask, right? You're a certified sexuality coach and a sexpert. How long have you been, doing this? How long have you been a sex coach for? And how is it that you guys had practicals? I mean, what exactly?
What started this
How did this
love?
whole journey start?
Okay, it started years ago in when I was in school.
Yeah.
Right? I realized that a lot of friends were having sex, talking about sex, and it didn't make sense to me. Like, I didn't like sex, right? And I didn't like sex because I was molested, I was raped as a child, so it practically made me hate sex. So, when you hear people talk about it, how good and all, I'm like, okay, I needed to know more.
Yeah.
Right? So I tried. Being in Nigeria, and, check everywhere, there's no information about
Yes.
sex. Of course, you can't talk about it, you can't ask people.
There's a lot of shame around it.
Exactly. So, I met a coach who was into teenage sex and all those things then, but also a Christian, and I saved up, I bought his CDs, I went into my room, I was feeling so good that, thinking
You're
that
gonna
when
learn.
I'm gonna learn something
I'm gonna
today.
be someone new. And after watching, I'm like, okay, what did I just watch? It was all about, you can't have sex as a child of God. So I broke all the CDs, and that was it. And like you said, I became a rebel, right? Then I went up to Alaba, and I started buying porn.
I'm sure I can't even imagine how they would have looked at you.
Yeah, like
Also, I had a
small
guy
girl.
who knew me, right? So every time he had new collection, he'll call me.
Auntie, don't show, Mandingo, don't show.
So once I go there, I just select. I select what I want, and that was it.
And you were able to learn?
Oh, I learned a whole lot. I would watch from 9 p.m. to like 5 a.m., fast forwarding, rewinding.
Sorry,
because
9
I
p.m.
wanted
to
learn.
5 a.m.
Oh, yes. I took my time.
Over.
I've watched so much,
That is a long time.
and even till now when I watch porn, I just smile. Rather than get turned on, I'm calculating. You just like that. You did that technique.
What?
For real?
Do you understand? So for me, it's not the pleasure anymore.
When did you give your first piece of advice? And did it work? Did you get
When I was
feedback?
in
reviews?
university, right, I had girls. So because I looked crazy, so I was always on gold hair, everything gold.
okay.
Not
So
white
people
material.
just exactly.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
just had the mindset this girl was a Ron's girl.
She's for the
Right?
streets.
Exactly. So I remember one time one of my friends in school got pregnant, and a lot of people in the department were like, "No, suspect should be the one to be pregnant.
Imagine.
Meanwhile, I wasn't even having sex, but because of my looks, right? So they
Yeah.
had the mindset. And so for me, it was more of training myself. So when I started speaking to people about those things I learned in my room, right? And they come to them and say, oh, so my husband gave me extra money. My husband bought me this. I'm like, okay, it's working. You know, and that was it.
And then you now went to get proper
I need
training.
advice. I need advice. I want a G-Wagon like next year. So what I need a G-Wagon. What do I need?
Sex won't give you that, trust me.
It was worth a try.
So I mean, there are like a lot of myths about, sex. I mean, so people say, men have more sex, or men like, having sex more than women. Some people say a woman's libido is always lower than a man's. Like so many myths about sex. I'm sure you've heard quite a number. What's the funniest one that you've heard? And, all the myths you've heard, or all these gist flying around, are they true?
So I can practically tell you that over 90% of them are not true, right? And the reason why I said over 90 is because some are true. And the truth is, we have this myth because we grew up, right, in a society where sex is hush-hush.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it, right? Religion says you can't have sex till you get married. And even when you get married, you're expected to have sex behind closed doors. But that's not what the Bible said.
It's what the Bible says.
Educate us.
So Bible talk more about sex in the vineyard, right? Sex in the garden. Bible talk more about romance, oral sex.
Sex in the garden.
Oh, yes.
Songs of Solomon.
Oh, yes. Have you asked yourself why those pastors don't use that particular chapter?
Songs
Of all
of-
the
That's
chapters
true.
in the Bible,
That's true.
they only use it during February season, right? After February, it's no longer in the Bible
It's no
till
longer in
next
the
year.
Bible.
So the next year.
So
February
I
again.
asked myself, when you have a book like this that talks about kissing, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just kissing. It talks about kiss on the lips, right? It talks about, swiping your lips on the other person's lips, sucking everything. I posted something on my page on Sunday,
Hallelujah.
right? I posted something. I posted some chapters on my page on Sunday, and I read it out, what the Bible talked, about kissing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you people are not seeing this. How do you read this and you don't get turned on? It's in the Bible. I didn't write it.
You are reading it from the Bible and getting turned on.
Why won't you get turned on? When you see, there's so
Those
many
two
things you
things don't
can
sound
read
right in one sentence.
because you have not taken your time, right, to
Yeah.
read Songs of Solomon.
Okay.
When you read it, close your eyes and imagine what you have read.
Baby, Bible devotion when we get home. Songs of
Not that
Solomon.
type of devotion, please. So this brings me to my next question. Pelumi touched on, men enjoy sex more and blah, blah. Can sex keep a man? Sex alone.
Good sex, crazy
Good
sex.
sex, swinging from the ceiling.
So keep a man
Frog
in
jumps,
marriage or
everything.
outside marriage.
In marriage.
No.
Or in a relationship.
No.
Eh?
No.
But I'm giving you everything.
I'm cooking you food, giving you.
I've literally
good
turned
sex.
myself into a gymnast. I've been doing gymnastics for you. And
Have you asked yourself why rich men with very beautiful women still go out or sleep with house girls?
maybe the sex
mean,
is
maybe
not
the-
good. But if
maybe
the
the
sex
sex-
is good, then
The thing is about sex.
isn't it?
So what is
there's
it
also
about-
peace of mind. There's
When,
also
when you
peace of
have when
mind.
you have a man who has 4 or 5 wives
Okay.
and he's still
It's
going on.
greed, though. Me, I sit down as greed.
No, it's not greed.
No, so what is it?
Variety.
Variety.
No, but see, when we talk about variety, I don't like classifying it as a particular gender. Because we also see some of all these sugar mommies outside who have a lot of sugar boys, and they're also craving variety.
Even younger girls.
Sugar mommies
Even
don't
younger
have
girls.
sugar mommies don't have a choice, right? So unlike a man who can pick a girl and bring her
Yeah.
home, sugar mommies can't say, "Oh, I'm dating this guy." It's going to be an embarrassment that, "Oh, you're older than him."
But not anymore. I feel like society is
No,
evolving.
it's people.
How many
still
how
shame
many
them. How
women have
people-
you seen that says this is my guy?
I hope you're not looking at America, please. America
No, I'm
is
not
a very
looking at
different
America.
Give me
because
one name.
even men,
Africa.
even these rich men that we're talking about, most of them post their wives all over their social media. They would never really come out and say, "This is my side chick" or "This is the girl that I'm carrying." I mean,
Isn't that because the wife doesn't know about it?
Even
said
if
you weren't
even if she does, what would you do?
Okay. I rest
What
my
would you
case.
do?
I rest my case.
I just feel like a lot of people, I mean, just like, you were saying something about the myths, we're talking about it. I mean, before they'll say, oh, women use a lot of emotions. They cannot have sex with someone they're not in love with. That's why every time after sex, there's always the what are we conversation. They always say all these things. But we've seen a lot of girls that are, they're doing it just for the pleasure of it. They don't even care to be in relationships. So I'm just very iffy about, everybody needs variety.
Even those that are married, we have a lot of open marriages in Nigeria. Oh yes, we do. A lot of open marriage in Nigeria where a man says, okay, you know what, I'm picking this girl tonight, and the wife is saying, okay, I'm picking my person tonight, and they're okay with it.
All right. Wow. No,
What about,
not bad.
do we have swingers in Nigeria as well?
I have a club.
There's a,
Where's this
club?
Are you part of the club?
Where's the club?
I don't know.
He's definitely not going to say it on camera.
Okay,
so.
but where's the club? Where's the club?
This is Nigeria now.
In Lagos, Abi, or in Abuja.
Is there anything? Is there anything
that is
not
not
everywhere?
You show up there with your partner and you're like,
Do
okay.
we have strip clubs everywhere?
Yes, we do.
Exactly.
So you show up with your partner and you're like, okay, let's find another couple.
So it's more like a community, right? In here and every other place. It's more like a community. And so you have to join the community. They have to test you to be sure you're clean.
How do they test
and then you can,
like,
no, you run, they run tests,
okay.
right? The same way we have sex parties every weekend in Lagos, Abuja, everywhere. You have sex parties, right? And so when you go in for the party, you have to run a quick test to be sure you're fine, right? They will tell you, okay, girls 20K or bring a drink, guys 50K, right? And so girls get tested. You come in and you can take anybody. You want a guy, you want a girl, you're good to go. Yeah.
So, I mean, before we get to that part, because that one is another side, it's a king, it's far. Let's come down small to the level of probably half of, Nigerian men, women, and all. So how do you build intimacy in marriage? Because, we were talking about how, society generally, you all want, a woman who's modest, has a look, she's a virgin. I used to have one neighbor that time, went to the north to go and bring one. I won't say she's a village girl because she's so pretty. You know how all these northerners are so fine. But she's
Thank you.
But she's really all covered up and everything. And then a year into the marriage, it's like, oh, she just lies still in bed. She doesn't do anything. So, we've seen that where the expectation of the average woman who wants to get married is don't have sex with anybody, be a virgin, blah, blah, blah.
Because you're told growing up, if a man touches you, you're pregnant.
You're pregnant.
Yeah.
So, we've seen all of these things. And then these women now have issues in the marriage because now it's like you're a baby with someone who has 20 years of experience and different types of people.
Yeah.
So how do we measure up? How do
you catch up?
So it's all about training, right? So tomorrow I have training with 2 sets of women. They are all married.
Okay.
But 2 hours each, right? These are married women over 15 years. But they want to learn. So I'm going to be teaching them how to give a good blowjob, how to ride a dick, how to understand, your wetness, how to put yourself in the mood, how to get orgasm. Yeah. These women, most of them have never even had an orgasm before, and they've been married 15 years.
So this is my issue.
This thing.
Thank you for saying this because that's why it always baffles me a lot of time when men complain about, women not doing it for them because I feel like more women have never experienced orgasms in Nigeria than
Isn't it because men
So who do you blame?
prioritize their own
Who do you blame for that?
The woman. I would blame the woman.
I blame the man, honestly.
I blame the woman.
I blame the man. Why?
Why?
Because if you, as an experienced person, go to marry someone who you said you want her to be a virgin, I feel like it's up to you to teach her the things that she would, let her experience
What
it
about the
anew.
person who is getting married, right? I'm a woman, I'm getting married. Why don't I learn, knowing that I'm going to get married, I'm going to be having
But
sex?
how do they experience that?
Thinking.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, if you start maybe trying to experiment with maybe sex toys and all of that, I feel like they already break the hymen, or to a certain level, some people will say maybe they're not as innocent.
I read that so many other things can break your hymen.
Yeah.
So it's not only sex that breaks it. And
Hymen does not guarantee virginity, right? And blood does not prove anything.
Yeah.
We've seen virgins have sex without blood. You're not even supposed to bleed.
Yeah, at
You're
all.
not supposed to bleed
So why'd you bleed?
because you're being forced.
So you need to be in the mood.
So in those days, it was not like lubricant.
Yeah, because you know,
So
in
you, okay,
your
wait,
culture,
so
you
you
have to
basically
put-
need to be aroused to
Yeah,
avoid.
it's supposed to be a gradual thing.
Uh-huh.
Just like when you are having the baby, right?
Uh-huh.
They give you time. They'll
Yeah.
tell you, oh, they'll check you.
Centimeters.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Right? It's a process. You're getting bigger, right? Your system is preparing itself. The same thing should happen in sex. You're not expected to even have sex on your wedding night. It should be a process. You're supposed to probably get yourself in the mood, know yourselves, romance, make her get wet.
Okay, let me ask you this question. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We already know, you men. I salute you. 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
He's in the mood. You are coming out of deep sleep. How
You're
are you
still in
supposed
deep
to?
sleep. He's waking
Yeah,
you up.
he's waking up. How are you supposed to get into the mood then?
So the thing is, he can help you, right? One,
The
he
kissing.
must have a lubricant to
Is
make
it
sliding in
Is
easy.
do you really need lubricant? Isn't it for those people
How
that
do you
dry
have
up?
sex? How do you have sex without a lubricant?
Natural
Aren't you
lubricant.
meant to be
Nature
very...
cannot-
It's the
nature-
whap, whap.
No. Nature cannot sustain you. Nature cannot sustain you. So one of the things we need to understand about sex is, for every time the penis, so you get wet during romance.
Yeah.
You get wet during oral sex, right? Now, for every time the penis is going inside the vagina,
bringing
it's
it-
pumping
Bring
in
it
air.
out. Oh, okay, drying it up.
Dryness.
Then.
Exactly. It's pumping in air. So when it goes in too fast, you start to quiff. Right? And so you find out
You may
that
have
when
that sound.
after your romance, right, and after oral sex, his slighting is interesting. But after a while, you start to feel the friction.
So you
It's-
need it.
You need, how do you have sex with that? Except you now want to go back to, probably you have a man who is good, right? Makes you squirt. Because when you squirt, everything gets juicy
Is
again.
every woman is every woman able to squirt? Every
We're all
woman
born
out
to
there.
squirt.
Yeah?
Eh?
Yeah? Ah.
Okay,
wait,
wait.
explain how.
It's like saying,
How?
can everyone get an orgasm? We're born to get an orgasm.
That squirting looks like a special skill.
So the thing is,
it looks like a
so science says not every woman can squirt, right? But there's a place in Uganda, right, where they train their girls from childhood.
to squirt.
Yeah. It's called kunyaza.
How do you train them?
So if as a man you cannot make a woman squirt,
You take them
you
there.
are not a man.
You're not a
You-
man.
Is that a fault on the man's
It's called
side? or-
kunyaza. You can Google it.
Kwanyanza.
So
Write
they
it down,
train
write it
them,
down, write it
right?
down.
So one thing we need to understand is men understand their penis. From childhood, you see a boy put his hand in his trousers.
trouser.
Yeah.
He's holding the. So even when they are asleep, they know the length, they know the feeling. But we don't do the same thing as women.
So how do we know what we want?
So
How
you
do
need to know your body first.
Do we have to always meet a sex coach, or how do you know what you want? How
Do you
know what
self-explore
works for
or-
you?
So I can only teach you, right, some parts of your body, right, that can put you in the mode, your erogenous zones. You now need to go and train yourself and check which one works for me. So women are more technical than men, right? Because we have our menstrual flow, you get pregnant. So probably before pregnancy, your nipples, once they touch it, your antenna
on
is
fire.
off. And then you find out after childbirth, he's sucking and like, what are you doing? I'm not even feeling anything, right? Or after your menstrual flow, you are not feeling it.
Yeah.
So women, we change. We are not stable, right? But go and touch a guy's nipple. Not all guys though, but when you understand your partner's erogenous zone, you know what turns him on, right? So for someone like me, my partner has programmed me,
Yeah.
right? So once my husband touches my scalp,
He programmed you.
yeah, you can program your partner.
How?
Teach me. Let me learn. Teach me.
I think you might need
So,
to
so you see,
spend more than
so that's why I say sex is not just about the drilling. We think so much about the drilling. So for instance, you lose someone, right?
Yeah.
Someone very close to you, and someone comes in to say, "Oh, sorry about that," right? The person holds you,
Yeah.
walks away, right? She comes, she holds you, she walks away.
Yeah.
By the time 4 to 5 people hold you there, anytime anybody holds you there, it brings back memory of you losing someone because they are programmed to that place.
Yeah.
So you can program someone over time. So for instance, when you're about to ejaculate or when you're about to get an orgasm or your partner is about to ejaculate, what do they do?
So you resort to doing all of this.
What do they do? So you find out that probably for a lot of men, when they are drilling, when they start to hold you tight, you know that, okay, he's about to come.
Yeah.
Right? God help you hold your neck.
Choke me, daddy.
Right?
Literally.
So for me, even when I'm angry and he touches my scalp, I'm like, don't you dare. Because he knows that once you touch it,
Everywhere
It's-
wet. Everywhere still.
do you understand? And so when I'm like, no, I'm not interested, I don't want it, he knows where to touch. I know where to touch.
Where to touch.
Right? So sex is not just about penetration.
Yeah.
You also have to program the person.
Program the person.
And the question is, are you so confident that even if your partner goes out, you'll
Another
come back?
person. Oh.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Because you're the one that knows.
You know
have the
what
buttons.
to do.
You know what to
It will
press.
take you 20 to 30 years to get the same feeling you get with me.
Yeah.
I love that. Please, I want
I'm
to
a
be confident
standard.
like you.
I am the standard.
I am
Find
the standard.
someone.
I always say something jokingly. I always tell my husband, I see, I know we love ourselves, but should in case we divorce, any babe or woman you're going to marry, I'll still be coming to fuck you. Let the person know. That one, I will come back.
Yes.
It's facts.
So just stay together.
Energy.
baby.
I have a
Just
question.
stay together.
What's the one thing that comes to your mind when you think about juicy sex?
Satisfaction.
For both couples.
So juicy sex is when I'm done, I can smell. When I'm done, I'm happy.
Someone said that after every time she has sex with her husband, like tears like just start
She cries.
falling, like she cries and she's like, "Thank you." I'm like,
So you see, when you get to that point of tears, you are no longer normal.
What's happening?
Oh, you need to get to a certain realm to be able to cry. Sometimes you laugh. Sometimes you cry. Sometimes you laugh and cry. Sometimes you run mad.
Wait, I don't say. Okay.
I see.
Have you ever had sex where you lose contact with your surroundings?
With everywhere you're numb, or
right? And then your
Cloud
partner isn't touching you. He has stopped, probably ejaculated, right? But you're still feeling the drilling. And then you orgasm. Nobody's touching you, but you orgasm again. And then you're screaming like he's still drilling you.
You're screaming. That's not screaming.
please.
That's another realm. That's what
Let's
I'm
go
saying.
to the next item.
On the list.
No, we have a lot of discussions behind the scenes. But I mean, let's talk about some things that we hear all the time in terms of juicy sex and sex in general. Like, how long should sex last for?
So I will say for as long as you want. Now, the thing about sex we need to understand is who is your partner? So I can be a 1 hour person, right? You can be a 5 minutes person.
So it's 5 minutes. I mean, because we've seen, some celebrities come out to shame their, husbands or
Ex-husbands.
ex-husbands rather. I mean, popular, like I think 20DK one time, called, her ex, 40-second man and all of the things. So with short time, does the duration of time determine how good the sex is?
Yeah.
No. The
So even
question
40
is,
seconds can be
I can
good.
get
40
everything.
seconds.
That's
is
impossible, though.
after she gets an orgasm, right? So one thing a lot of people need to understand is, and this is one technique so many people don't know. When a woman gets an orgasm, it takes her. I'm trying to give her the secret here.
Give it out.
It's one of the things we learn in my class, right? When a woman gets an orgasm, and I teach majorly men, right?
Majorly men.
Yeah.
I was coming to
Interesting,
ask that
interesting.
question.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when a woman gets an orgasm, it takes her a few seconds to get herself back, right? Before drilling. But guess what? Once a man makes you get an orgasm, they insert straight and they start to drill you. But you're not back to that point of drilling. So by the time the man gets him, you are all juicy and wet, and right?
The
Before
pounding
you know,
continues.
he ejaculates. At the time he's ejaculating, that's the time you are getting yourself back, right, for drilling. And so you're like, the man, like, what are we
Like,
drilling
what
you? And you're
happened?
like, no, you have not done anything. So I always tell my men, when your woman gets an orgasm, take a few seconds. Let her get herself back, so that the moment you insert,
She's
back.
she would know that Jesus is Lord.
She would know that Jesus is
very
Lord.
simple.
Amen. Praise the
Except
Lord.
you have some women who can, transit themselves almost immediately. And so those women, when they get that, they will be the one to drag you, like, insert, like, you know what that means, right?
Pelumi, you know what she means, right?
understands.
So I want to ask, you know how they say it's the size of the boat doesn't matter, but the motion of the boat. Do you believe that? Size doesn't matter, but the motion.
Size doesn't matter.
Really?
Most times it doesn't matter.
Most times.
But you find this woman
Because-
asking for 6 inches, 9
6?
inches,
Whatever
9.
size you have, right? Whatever size you have.
Uh-huh.
When it comes to sex, there's a solution to everything. So if you have a 3-inch, let's say you have a 3-inch or your penis is like this, get an extender, get a penis sleeve.
Do those
Wait,
extended
is it-
things work?
Oh,
Is it not like plastic?
No, it's not plastic.
What is
It's
it?
rubber. It's like a thick condom.
Mm.
It comes in form of the penis. You
You
wear
wear it
So
on
you-
it, so it's your. I don't
But
know
you,
these
but you
things
strap
actually.
it around your
No,
body.
you don't strap
No, you
it.
don't strap
wear
it.
it like a condom.
Won't it,
And some people
won't
have
it, ca-
spikes.
won't it fall off? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Some people are so
You see-
weird.
What? What? It
Yeah.
has spikes.
Yeah.
Like,
People like.
Yeah, so when it goes inside of you, you're crazy because you're feeling.
sensations everywhere.
Sensational.
You see, when I tell you, couples that have sex every time,
Yeah.
there's more to what you need to find out what are you people doing.
So it's
you
not
guys
just the
doing?
same missionary.
You
Yeah.
can't
dummy and
if
all
you
of those
eat
things.
rice from now till 1 month every day, you can't survive 30 days. You'll get tired.
You
But
will
guess
get
what? If you eat that rice today, right, eat fried rice tomorrow, right, blend it next day and make ground rice. Tomorrow you eat jollof rice. Next tomorrow you eat rice pudding. 1 year you're not done with that rice.
You're not done with
So
rice.
that's sex. So if I'm going to give you a blowjob,
Uh.
I won't do the same thing. Tomorrow I want to use an edible lubricant. Let me taste the pineapple penis. You know, let me do something.
Grapefruit the man.
Let me
Grapefruit
pop
the
ice
man.
cube in my mouth, you know, and I suck you with an ice cube in my mouth, you know. So you have to learn to be creative. It can't be the same thing over and over again. You get tired.
I'm curious, how are your sessions? I want to know, how are your sessions held?
So I have classes, right? I teach how to ride a dick. So for me, you don't ride a dick. You scoop a dick. They're two
Wait,
different
wait.
things.
You see, you
Wait.
what? You scoop?
You scoop.
That's a like.
Like,
When you scoop an ice cream,
yeah.
uh-huh.
no, you're scooping an ice cream.
Scoop.
Yeah. So you're scooping the dick. So every time you go down, you clamp on the penis.
God, I'm trying to picture
And when you
this
come up, you
thing.
pull the skin. So you have to learn to use your vagina walls.
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
I mean, okay,
That's
so-
actually a very smart way of looking at it. It's a scoop.
I know,
All right.
scoop it, all right. But I mean, talking about your classes, who would you say, what people come to your classes the most? The men, married men, women, like who are the people that you would say attend your classes the most?
Unmarried women.
Side
girls.
chick.
Married women and
Side chicks.
girls in relationships with boys or side
Well, I
chicks
don't know who
or-
they are dating,
Right.
right? But I can tell you I have more girls who are not married than the married ones. I have few married ones, right? And trust me, I think married women are now opening up.
Yeah.
They want to learn. And I have very few married men too. Like there are some married men that I'm in love with. They want to learn every class. And I'm like, does this woman even know the kind of man she's married to? Like, this man is paying back to back to learn. He wants, so Spice, I need to, so Spice, what products can I use? So Spice, what toy do you have? What game do you have?
For his wife or for
His wife. I have a particular client who travels almost every month for sex. And everything's telling me, so Spice, what's new? I need something.
so cool,
That's
actually.
nice. He actually cares about
He
satisfying
would tell me,
his woman.
not that he cannot get a girlfriend, he can, but he looks forward to when next. So when he
When they
goes,
get to
he wants
experiment.
to create a memory, so that when he's gone,
gone.
she's like, oh God, I can't wait for him to come back.
come back.
And that's what sex
actually
should be.
nice.
That's what
Yes.
juicy sex should be.
So how do we get to that point? Like, how do we spice it up?
So the thing is, you need to understand who you are, right? Do you know your sex language?
Okay, so we have
Wait,
love language.
no,
Now we
the
have to
sex
learn sex language.
What is sex
Okay,
language?
so
Sex
what is
language,
sex
right?
language?
So you have fun.
Okay.
So there are people who are fun-based. They want to have sex anywhere, everywhere.
Ooh.
So if you're married to a fun person and you are the bedroom kind of person, under a year or two, sex will no longer be interesting. But you see a fun person, drill them in the kitchen, kids from balcony everywhere, and they
Energy.
look forward to sex. You have the patient people, right? The patient people, don't pull my hair, don't spank my ass, right? Give me candle, you know, nice smell, you know, romance me.
Okay.
So they want the whole
that is calm.
experience.
So you need to understand who you are.
So can we just know like the sex languages? How many are there?
I think they're like 5.
5.
Okay, so we
have
have
fun.
the fun.
I
We
can
have
remember
the
everything. We have
patient.
fun. We have
Patient.
patient. We have I'm trying to remember now.
Does BDSM fall under a sex language, or that's just something else?
A different
entirely?
realm on its own.
So BDSM is not a language on its own.
Ah.
It's who you are. It's adventure.
So I like
So
violence.
for some people, for some fun people, you find them in BDSM. At the same time, for some patient people, you find them in BDSM. Because BDSM has categories.
Yeah.
It has levels, right? You probably will have feather. So for a patient person, you can use feather on them, right? But for someone who is fun and kinky,
Yeah.
you probably might want to strap them. Strap their hands, strap their legs, you know.
I am your prisoner, baby.
Or wear,
me.
mouth gag for them. See, a lot of Nigerian men are not really open to BDSM. But trust me, some are. And those ones are enjoying real sex.
So who do you think is more open to kinky sex, men or women? Because I mean, I was reading up on an article, and then, it talked about how men, crave variety, sort of, but women tend to get bored faster than men in relationships and when it comes to sex. So that means to a certain level, a lot of women like, they want variety. They might not know. So men get bored with one partner, but then women get bored, with just sex in general. So, and that's why a lot of times they're not in the mood, because it's like, what is there to look forward to?
You climb me
It's
on
the
Yeah,
same thing
like you
over
just
and over
climb
again.
and but men might just be okay, just variety of the women.
Yeah.
But women, the variety of the sex itself. So who would you say is kinkier, the men or the women?
I really can't put a tag to it.
I can't picture a
I
man
mean,
being
based on
kinky. I
You
can't
can't
picture
picture
a
a-
man being more kinky. Let me say more kinky than a lady. I
why
just
he
can't
might just
picture
be
it.
Why?
you've not met some men in Lagos.
You down. They're not going to drill you. They're going to make you get orgasm back to back, but they're not going to drill you. That's what makes them happy. The same way we have women who don't drill me, turn me on, make me get an orgasm, and that's sex to
And
them.
then leave me alone.
So when we talk about juicy sex, the question is, what do you want? Right?
Yeah.
So what you want, when you get what you want sexually, then that's it. So what if I don't like penetration? The women who don't like fingering, don't finger me, don't even dare. We are married to a man who believes, man, I have to finger and suck.
So how do you find that balance? Because quite honestly, and especially because of the society we live in, I keep coming back to this because, the society as a whole, whether culture, tradition, or religion, they preach, no sex before marriage. And now it's when you now enter the marriage, you now discover that you guys are not sexually compatible because you both like different things. So in terms of spicing up the marriage and having a juicy sex life, how do you now find a balance? So for the example that you've given now, I'm a woman who hates being fingered, or I have a husband and I have a husband who loves that whole process, feasting and I don't know that. Sorry.
Is another.
Yes. So how do you
like.
now? What as a sex coach? How do you help them strike a balance where they can enjoy their sex
both
life?
be happy.
Because most times we've seen a lot of people just resort to cheating. The man goes out to find the person he likes. The woman goes out to maybe her ex. Or that's why we have a lot of paternity fraud out there because, I still feel there are so many women, so many married women, or so many women in relationships that are not sexually satisfied. So they end up going to what they know, which might now be the person that will now impregnate them and
They'll
bring
ring
someone
their
else.
doorbell.
Do you understand? So how do they strike a balance in a marriage?
So let me talk about, not being satisfied, right? Some people don't get satisfied, not because their partners are not good, but because they're holding on to the past. Right? So my boyfriend used to give me head this way. And you're like, I want it this way. He's not your boyfriend. He can never be your boyfriend.
Yeah.
No matter how much he tries. And so as long as you hold on to that, you will never get it. Even when the man is trying. Right? Now, when we talk about balance, you meet yourself halfway.
Yeah.
The question is, what do I like? What do you like? So, for instance, I love BDSM. Right?
I know.
We figured. I mean,
You don't
for
need to
instance,
tell me.
after she mentioned
right?
that they're
don't-
screaming even after
I
sex
said-
is over, I'm like,
No, but you can scream with a sex toy.
We'll come back to sex.
We'll come
toy,
back.
but
We'll
let's
touch sex
talk
toy
about
after
this.
this.
So when you talk about screen, you need to be sure,
Okay.
right?
All right.
So for instance, I love BDSM, right? I want you to tie me down. I want you to probably hold my hand and give me head, right? In a way that I can't touch you and the whole body vibrates.
I can't fight.
Hallelujah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm screaming and I'm crying, I want more and everything. Now, you are the kind of person who feels, you know what, I just want missionary. The question is, how do we meet ourselves halfway?
Yeah.
Right? You might not be able to do what I want all through.
Yeah.
I might not be able to do what you want. I don't like missionary, like for crying out loud. So the question is, we now need to balance up, right?
Wow.
We decide, okay, today is going to be for you, right? Tomorrow it's going to be for me. So if I'm having sex with you today, if I initiate today, I'm going to be doing what you want so that you are happy. Now, when you start to get happy, you now start to find yourself to want to do what I want for me, right? That way you also want to experience it. Now, one of the best things I usually tell my clients to do is get a sex game
Sex game.
Sex game.
or sex card.
How do we get that?
Right.
We just
They
check.
sell it in Everno. There are a few.
How do you know?
I have an adult
went to the
sex
game
toy.
section and
Oh,
I
you
saw.
have?
Oh, yes. I have
Oh,
an adult.
yes, that's true. Sex toy by Sex Spice.
Ah, okay.
It's a complete, home where, it's a complete store where I sell sex toys,
Yeah.
dildos, vibrators, everything.
Is it a physical store?
Talk
I
about,
wanna-
yes,
It
it's a
probably
walk-in
looks like
store.
a dungeon when you walk in.
It's a walk-in store in First App, trust me. It's a
Oh.
walk-in store. So talk about dildos from 4 inch to 12 inches. You'll find it there.
Wait, how long is 12? Let's 12.
12 should be like this.
This cannot fit anywhere.
Says who?
Ah.
That place brings out a child.
Exactly.
I'm talking about, look at 12. Put
When
it
you're
against your
turned on, you
stomach.
expand.
What about masturbators? I have that doll that you carry.
That doll is
I posted
actually
one on
very
my page
cute.
a
Nah, I
few
need
days
to
ago,
see.
and I remember a lot of people like, someone sent me. I'm like, so Spice, you are degrading women. I'm like, no, I'm not degrading the woman. I
I'm
said I would
empowering them.
rather my husband use this
Yeah.
than pick any girl on the street.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So if you're traveling, if he's about to travel,
Baby,
oh,
No,
we just all-
there's a little one you can carry.
We just all jack back
Oh,
in.
yes.
As you're jack by him, just pack the dog. This is all you can do till we meet again.
So when we talk about juicy sex, you need to
Yeah.
meet your partner halfway. So with a card,
Yeah.
for instance, I'm going to bring this towards culture. I'm sorry to the Igbo people. I'm sorry. I just like using you people, right? So, for instance, you have an Igbo man.
Yeah.
Not all. There's so many. The one I was talking about going home every month. He's an Igbo guy and he's very good. Now, for instance, an Igbo guy. Sorry, right? So you have a typical local Igbo man who believes you don't initiate sex.
Yeah.
Anytime I say I want it, you open your leg, right?
Mama
Now,
Neka off rapper.
you now want, you want to try out something. You want probably for him to give you head and all, and it's not bulging, right? There's no point fighting. Get a game, right? Probably anniversary or birthday, buy game. And then, so one thing I love about sex games is they start slow. They don't rush you. You're going on a journey, right? But it starts slow. So you could say, kiss without touching. Kiss. So another thing about game is game will help you focus on things you don't focus on. Most times you find what you do in marriage is kiss, romance, oral sex, or finger, penetration, ejaculation, right? But with sex game, you can last 2 hours. And the rule is you cannot ejaculate. You cannot get an orgasm, right?
So it's like delayed
God.
gratification.
So it's okay. I understand where she's going with that.
please.
So the question is, you now need to ask yourself, right? What kind of game do you want?
Yeah.
Oh, there are different types.
Oh, there are different types. You have the sensual one, you have the romantic one,
the hardcore
you have the adventure one, you have the full
You have the
BDSM.
hardcore.
I created sex cards, right? And when I created this sex card, 3 things came to mind. Religion. So I did one for the religious people. Just you and me, right? So everything in that card is you and me, nothing else. So I did another one, second level, for people who are religious but might want to explore, right? So that one has a little of, I didn't use handcuff. I used tie, right? Scarf, tie your partner with a scarf, something they can get at home. Then I have the third level, full BDSM, anal sex,
On both ends or just the female side of it?
whoever picks
makes
the
you
card,
happy.
whatever makes you happy.
Whatever
right?
makes
So for
you
someone
happy.
like me, I can't play the other two.
Yes,
I'm way past that
That's
one.
too-
No, not too boring, but
You're an OG.
you know,
You're an OG, you're
I love
pro.
adventure.
Ogaraya.
You know that kind of thing. Let me sweat it out. Let me feel the oil and everything, right? Let me cry. Let me leave my body.
That's a completely different
Yes,
level.
it's a
Do you
com-
understand?
I want to talk about sex toys now. I read on Quora Digest, a 70-year-old lady said that she reached her first orgasm at 70
Yeah.
using a dildo. She didn't even need a man. She used a dildo.
But I feel like
So I'm
sex
like,
toys are taboo in Nigeria.
well, yeah,
Felicia.
they're taboo everywhere actually. Everywhere. Well, let me speak for Africa because that one I know they're taboo. So how important is it for an individual, whether you're whether you're married or in a relationship or single, to have a sex toy?
So sex toy is never the problem. And I always tell people, one of the things you hear about sex toy is, oh, if my wife gets a sex toy, she probably won't want me again, right?
Yes.
Now, sex toy is not the problem. The problem is, what is that thing that is making your wife go to that sex toy? What is the problem that is not being solved, right? So for instance, you use a lubricant, right? With a lubricant now, it's good for sex, right?
Yeah.
Religion is okay with lubricant, right? As
Yeah.
a couple.
Yeah.
Now, if I use lubricant to masturbate, they will tell you, oh, it's the devil. It's wrong.
Yeah.
But is lubricant the problem? No, lubricant helps you as a couple, but it also helps me to masturbate.
Yeah, so I mean, for sex toys, right? Let's talk about how, because I've seen a lot of comments on sex toy pages. So let's imagine maybe your boyfriend or your husband is maybe 6 inches, and then you want to get a toy of like 10 to 12 inches, for example.
Dig a well,
Okay.
yes.
A lot of
dig a
guys
well.
feel like that's cheating
Yeah.
because of the size. And then they also feel like you're expanding yourself so much that they won't be able to fit anymore, or it would not be enjoyable for them
have a
or
question
you
about-
anymore. Like you won't be satisfied with your
question about
size
that.
anymore. Yeah.
Expansion and whatnot. I like bigger penis. Isn't the vagina like a rubber? Doesn't it go back to size? Or
Yeah, but I mean, so people don't believe that. That's why I say, oh, if she's maybe loose or something, oh, she has slept with 1,000, 1 million men.
Have you
I'm
ever
guessing that's
wondered-
different. Just the way you have different penis sizes, you have
Yeah.
different vagina sizes.
Have you ever wondered why prostitutes are still out there? Yet they carry 4 to 5 clients
they
every
don't
night.
expand.
They don't
they
expand.
don't
So if
expand.
a prostitute who is carrying different men isn't expanding,
Yeah.
how many sex are you going to do with me
Yeah.
that will make me expand?
Okay, but
Yeah.
Right?
So
but does
But with a
childbirth
sex toy,
affect-
childbirth,
Yeah. Doesn't
so
it affect
it expands it, but it goes back.
to its original size?
It goes back.
To its original.
Yeah.
So can we now talk about, the sex talk, the sex toy one where, the whole cheating thing with the size, or, just the different.
So the thing with size is, a lot of people believe it has to be 10, 12 inches. But trust me, when you start to take 10, 12 inches, you won't enjoy sex. Most times they don't enjoy sex.
Why?
Guys who have it, they are looking for girls to marry. I've had 2 or 3 of them, right, in my line of work, who are saying, so Spice, nobody's going to marry me. Anytime they see my size, they run. Or once I sleep with them. And women who are married to these people always tell them, go and get a side chick. I remember I once had a client
it's
who
so
was
much
married
for them.
to a man who had 10 inches. Of course, no sex before marriage, so she didn't know what she was getting into. And every time they have sex, she was always bleeding. See, let me tell you, ordinary. Okay.
So how do you even
You are
find the
married, right?
balance with
Yeah.
that? How
Have
do
you ever
leave that up?
experienced where after sex you feel so much pain? For you to sit down is a
Yeah,
problem.
you're just so-
You want to pee is a problem, right? And that's a normal size. So imagine a 10-inch kind of pain.
So at that point, is there even? So we're talking about balance. Can they ever balance that? Is there
You
any
can't balance
solution?
it.
How?
It is possible. It just means that she has to be in charge, right? Or when he's in charge, he doesn't get carried away.
To handle
So
the
the
depth.
vagina can take 10 inches. But like I said, it's a process. You have to train the vagina to take the 10-inch. You cannot. So which means that, so the same way with fisting, you cannot just fist.
Yeah.
You start with one finger, you double it, right? And I always tell people, if you have a virgin, you're getting married to a virgin, don't insert your penis. It's not fair. Start with the smallest finger, lubricate her, right? Finger her, let her feel relaxed, double it, triple it, make it the 4 fingers, and then you can turn left, right. Now, by the time you do this, this is almost the size of your penis.
Yeah.
By the time you do this and she's relaxed, when your penis goes in, you wouldn't, she probably might not even be in pain, and you won't see any blood. But guess what? Nobody's doing anything. They're kissing, and then they force the penis inside of you. And 2 years down the line, the girl still hates sex. I have a message of yesterday who says, you know what, I still don't like sex. I don't know what to do. She got married a virgin.
Oh, shit. So we
That's a lot.
basically men need to be educated on this. You do
Exactly.
not just
Yeah,
forge
You
ahead.
know,
You
take your
need.
time.
Oh,
It could
gosh.
take you 3 days or 1 week to penetrate. Take your time. Because the moment you penetrate it, you're expected to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But when one person is in pain, and then one of the things you also get with virgins is vaginismus.
Yes.
Vaginismus.
So that's when it
Vaginismus.
clamps up and it doesn't
The
open.
vagina shuts down.
Oh,
It
that's
doesn't
a
open.
thing.
It's a thing.
You know, many people are married and 1 year they have not even penetrated their wife. Leave that thing.
I feel
But
like
if it-
your
but-
classes,
but if it doesn't happen-
I have to be
Trust me,
Yes.
if it doesn't happen, I won't make money. That's where my money comes from, right?
Ah.
Therapy. I have to put. See, so when you go to the clinic, what a lot of Nigerian doctors will do is they'll say, "Oh, she's not. It's dry. It's small. Okay, let me open her up," and they open you up, but it's not going to solve the problem. It won't solve the problem because most vaginismus starts from the brain. It's a mindset,
Yes, true.
right? So we have to reprogram you for you to understand that, you know what, your vagina walls shouldn't shut down. So it's a process.
Okay, I have to go back. Your sessions, right? Is there ever a case where they have to like strip down naked in front of you and you now tell them, oh, climb him, lie down, do this?
Well, so it depends on the client.
Okay.
Right? If I have to, I will.
So they have sex in front of
professionally,
you?
they will tell you, oh, it's not possible.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. You're not supposed to be naked. I remember I was going to go to one school, before I got my master's in sex, right? I wanted to go to one school and I was told I had to come physically changing because you're going to be having sex. You have to do it.
Like with
They're
your
not-
classmates. Oh, yeah,
yes.
pick your group
No,
partner.
you're going to bring whoever your
partner
would
is.
be.
Oh, okay.
But, going through that class, you are going to strip.
But I feel like that already adds a lot of pressure and you won't perform as you normally would.
Yeah.
So if maybe your performance is like 10%, when someone is watching you, except maybe
Drops
you're a
down to
boy
four.
or
So the
something.
thing with that process is, for instance, so you have someone who is used to masturbation, for instance, right? A man who all his life he's used to this.
Yeah.
Right? And it happens in so many marriages. You find out even when he drills his wife 1 hour, he can't ejaculate.
Unless you
Because the
use it.
vagina is not strong enough to clamp on his penis for him to ejaculate. But guess what? Let that man pull out his vagina, his penis, and hold his penis for 2 seconds. He ejaculates everywhere. So for that kind of person, you now have to train
how to get
both
used
of them.
So that's okay.
You have to train both of them,
Practical
which
class
means
work.
that
Is what it is?
you now have to. So for a man who is used to this, right? She now has to put her hand with his hand, right? And so gradually he pulls out his hand. It's not a one-day thing. So he pulls out his hand, and then she takes over, and then the vagina can do, right? But it's a process. You have to reprogram that person.
You have to okay, so you talked about programming.
Yeah.
So what would you say has been the most memorable clients that you've had?
That's
Funny.
I don't know.
That should be
Okay,
interesting.
I don't know.
Funny.
You know, the worst thing is, I have clients who. So I have different clients, right? So I remember so let me give an example. I have clients who come in for vaginismus, right? And after everything is fine, they have a child, they're having, issues, they come back. So spicy, you helped us the first time. You have to take this, right? You have a client who is having sexual issues, now they can have sex, but they are fighting. They come back. So spicy, this is not sex, but this is it. But you see, most like I tell my clients, sex is never the problem.
That's you guys.
It's you.
Sex is the result of the problem.
Yeah, but you've said it, but you've not mentioned that client. Okay,
Yes.
I would like to know like the worst case. I mean, you've talked about vaginismus, which I know that it can be very bad, but what would you say has been your worst, not worst client, but the worst case that you've had to deal with your
Okay,
clients?
so the worst case I would say is, I remember one time I had this client who's been married for 2 years, and she had vaginismus, and nothing was happening, and the husband kept it to himself. They were trying to fix it.
Yeah.
But after a year and a half, of course, family were asking what's happening,
yeah, the child.
and it opened up to say, okay, I've not been able to penetrate. Now, both of them got married a virgin. Right? And she didn't even know what it was. They didn't know what it was. So they were praying, and fasting and everything, right? And so family now gave her an ultimatum. If in 2 months there's no penetration, we are going to throw your things out, right? And so her mom and her family took over the case and said, okay, we need to solve this. So when they went to the clinic, they opened her up. It was still the same thing. So somehow, someone brought them to me. And when I took over, right, I realized that there was a whole lot of struggle. Because with vaginismus, one of the things you have to do is masturbation, right? So we have dilators. They come in form of like a penis, but not in form of a penis. So they have different levels, different sizes, right? So you have to start from the smallest to the biggest. And it was a huge problem. She couldn't do it. Oh, I can't masturbate. I'm like,
I'm a Christian.
babe, they're going to throw your things out, right?
So do this or...
Right. So it took me a whole lot. Even though...
How long were you?
I had to leave the case.
You had to leave it.
Yeah.
Unresolved?
Yeah. So when it comes to therapy, you cannot force a client.
They need to want
right?
your help.
And so I remember the first time we tried to use a dilator, I told myself, okay, this is it, right? It took us over 2 hours. Over 2 hours. Because for every time she's vibrating,
Wasn't she inserting
So
herself?
it was the belief system of sex is going to be painful. You see that word? That word.
Sex is gonna
I
be
have a friend who
painful.
hasn't had sex.
That word.
Because she's so scared of. She said it's going to be painful.
Yeah.
She's so scared.
Is it that someone told them that sex is painful?
They say it everywhere. Your first night is going to be painful. You're going to bleed.
So
right?
is that fear?
So when I take my brides, sometimes when I do bridal showers, I tell them, if you know you're a virgin, come for my class, right? And so I help them pass that level that, you know what, this is not painful. It's something you can do. So I help reprogram them before that day. Now, for this particular lady, the moment we're able to put the first dilator, oh God, she passed out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like literally passed out.
Yeah. So we had to, bring her back, to life and everything. So it was a matter of religion, right? And
conditioning.
I'm not going to do this because the Bible is against it.
Do you know how her story ended? Was she
Well, I
kicked
don't
out?
know. I decided not to know. I don't know.
I'm nosy. I would
feel
follow
so
up. Hello, are you still here?
Is it open?
That's not my job.
Closed.
Because
Is it
when
still
we
closed?
talk about therapy, when people come in, the first question we ask is, why are you here? What do you want?
Yeah.
Right? So when you tell me what you want, I work with what you want. But if you say, okay, I want this cup to be white, and I'm telling you, okay, there's a little bit of color on it. You have to paint it to be white. And you're telling me, oh, no, I'm sorry, I can't paint it.
Not painted it.
I will let you go.
So sex is all about being open-minded.
Yeah.
I'm
So it
being
starts from
ready.
here.
I'm ready. Oh, my
We're ready.
Are you sure you're ready?
We're ready.
That word is huge. Are you sure you're really ready?
We'll think
Because
about
when I ask you some things now, are you sure you're really ready?
We'll think about it.
Because when you're ready, you have to be ready for anal sex, fisting.
Is anal sex? No, I heard anal sex is bad. I mean, like
You heard.
Then you get loose and then you need diapers over
You
some
heard.
time.
We've seen
and all
so
that.
So how
a lot
many
of
people have you
stories.
seen wear diapers?
No, but we've seen a lot of stories. I mean, there was one time that the story was trending where this lady said, it was because she just gave birth. So, she couldn't have,
Vaginal
vaginal, penetration during that, few weeks of recovery. So she started doing anal sex. She introduced it actually. And she said, they liked it so much that it continued. And then at a point, I think she had some tearing and all of those things. And by the time she got treatment and everything, she started smelling basically, and she had a particular odor. And then, her husband has basically been leaving her to deal with it herself and just can't be in the same room with her. And so she came out looking for help that, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, we've heard things like this.
I know
about
one
anal
that
sex.
said was
anal sex is
oozing.
not as bad as what people say it is. Now you find out a lot of people say anal sex is painful, anal sex is bad, because they've never even experienced it. The question is, how many gay people have you seen wear diaper?
True.
That's the first question you should ask yourself. At least BC Alimi is married. Do you see him wear diaper? Right? Now, when you talk about, the asshole expanding, go and check. People insert a lot of crazy things. It goes beyond the penis. You find that people, Google it. People insert cucumber and all those things. The same thing we put into the vagina, they put in there.
Cucumber has suffered.
Right?
Cucumber has suffered.
you
The
need
next
you
time
need
we
to
will
see the
take the
kind of
shape of
nasty
the
things
star.
that come out of that place, right? So the question is it the penis that is damaging that place? Or what is really going into it? It's like the vagina. For crying out loud, if you have sex today and you don't have sex for the next 2 days, anytime you go back, your vagina goes back to its space, right? But you have sex every day, right? So the timing for it to go back is being taken over. But guess what? Like a prostitute, they know what to do. They shrink it back because they have to work.
So, they shrink it back with what the Kegel exercises
Alum.
or what
They
do
do
they
a whole
do?
lot of
I
things.
heard alum. How is it alum? Or
What do you
I
do?
can't tell you because they're not even writing, so they know what they do. But trust me, when you understand techniques and you know how to control your vagina walls, you can always shrink it back.
So, I mean, overall, we've talked so much. We've talked about sex toys, we've talked about anal, we've talked about your
A whole
classes.
list.
So, I mean, overall, to wrap up, the conversation on juicy sex, what would your final word of advice or your final, I don't know, admonition on your final, what would you finally say on juicy sex?
So I would say, first and foremost, be open-minded, right? Find out what your partner wants. Sex is not just about you; it's about us, right? Both of you need to sit down and analyze it. There is nothing about compatibility in sex; it's about give and take. So if we say this is what I want, for instance, I want BDSM, right?
Yeah.
You want missionary. It's okay. The question is, if you cannot tie me up with handcuffs, can you at least use your tie or your scarf? Right. Meet me halfway. So when you meet your partner halfway, trust me, with time, they would meet you on the other end.
They don't know what they're missing.
Exactly, right? But when you face them to say, oh, no, I'm never going to do this.
Sorry, I know I say you should wrap up, but I have just this one final question. I mean, I feel like a lot of, please, men, I'm not attacking you, I promise, but I just feel like a lot of men are quite selfish in bed generally. And, you're saying something about, we're talking about compromise and, meet me halfway. But if you've been trying to meet them halfway and then the energy is not being returned, what do you then do?
So when you say meet them halfway, how are you meeting them halfway? Have you
Whatever,
guys discussed?
maybe the man likes BDSM, for example. So you're constantly compromising and doing the BDSM. Meanwhile, you're the more calm, patient type of person where you want him to, rub all over your body.
On that, I read a story where the guy loved oral sex. He loved it, but then he refused to give the lady oral sex because apparently, you have periods, you always have, we have different discharges and all that. And he's like, he can't put his mouth there. And I'm like, that's so selfish.
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot.
The oral a lot.
A lot of
Exactly.
men
What do
say,
you do?
some would say, oh, I can't give head, right? And I always say this. You have men who can't go down on their wives, but their wives give them blowjob.
Why?
Yeah, so
And
how
I'm
do
like,
you, so
and I'm
what
like,
now
okay, you can't go
happens?
down
How
on
do
me, but you ejaculate. Now, it's even worse for men because every time they urinate, they don't clean up.
Exactly.
You jerk and you throw it back into your panties, right? Over and over again. So the truth is, if you cannot suck your wife, suck her, meet her halfway.
Oh, get a rose! People!
It's called a rose. Get a rose.
Right? So whilst you're doing her, let the rose do its work. And you will see the woman sing the song.
Glory be to Jehovah.
Wrap it up.
It has been such a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah,
Honestly,
definitely.
my ears were like this when I came in, but now it's like this because I have heard.
The question,
so
I like the fact
much.
that she was asking us questions and we're like, okay.
We were not ready for her. We thought we were ready for this episode, but she showed us that we were not. And if you feel like you're having sexual issues in your marriage, please make sure to reach out
The soul spice.
or seek help and try to make things better. All these things can be worked on. Thank you so much, Soul Spice.
Thank you for having me.
I'm
Been
your
a
new best
vibe.
friend. I'm going to slide into your DM now because I need to take my husband to Cloud 9. On that note, we need to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be playing some games.
Hello, Time family, and welcome back to The Time. Now, if you've been with us, you know that we've been talking about juicy sex with the one, the only Soul Spice. But now it's time to play a few games. Now, keeping up with the theme of the show, we will be playing a game called Riddle Me This. So the riddles sound dirty and nasty and juicy, but the answers are actually very innocent. So
I
let's
only
see
hear-
how innocent Soul Spice and Pelumi
I'm
can
innocent,
be.
so I
Are
don't know.
you guys ready?
I'm never
I know,
innocent.
I know she's not, but I'm innocent. So
You guys, no hope already.
no, I'm very. Me, hey.
All right. First question. What is a 4-letter word that ends in K that means the same thing as intercourse? 4-letter word that ends with K that
I
means
mean,
the same.
how the hell is that meant to not be?
There you go.
What did you say? What did you say?
Fuck.
That's the answer.
No, the answer is talk. The answer is talk.
You don't even know. I didn't even think of that. You don't know what.
All right,
to know what's
question
in my
number
mind.
2. I come in a lot of different sizes. Sometimes I drip a little. If you blow me, it feels really good. What am I?
Balloon.
No.
I just said the most innocent thing.
Different sizes.
I come in different sizes. Sometimes I
When you
drip a
blow.
little.
I drip
When
a
you
little.
blow me.
Yeah.
I know it. Candle.
No. Should I just give you guys the answer?
Okay.
When you talk about
Okay, one more.
blowing,
And you drip a little.
I drip
I
a
would say
little.
the penis, man.
Hey, it's the nose.
Eh?
The nose. It
Oh.
drips a little. Oh.
Mount nose must drip.
All right. Number 3. You stick your poles inside me.
Jesus Christ.
You tie me down and get me up. I get wet before you do. What am I?
God, I cannot even say what was in my mind. I'll just keep quiet. Because if I say this,
Say it.
no,
Say
I
it.
cannot.
Say it.
How? My husband will not look at me. My mommy will not look at me the same way again. I
No,
cannot.
your mom knows you're married, so.
Yes.
Oh, funny enough, the night before my wedding, my mom was actually like, Shoma, she doggy. Coach, she doggy. Oh, don't just do missionary. I said, Ma.
You'll be shocked.
I had to record the voice note and send to my husband, like, bruh.
You'll be shocked what
Are
those,
you ready?
what those people do.
But it's fair. I mean, they're always asking for grandkids, so they know. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's my answer, guys?
You said, I said the question.
You stick your poles inside me. You tie me down to get me up. I get wet before you do. What am I? Eh?
Say
Say it.
No, I'm not going
Say
They
it.
will beat me.
All right, so I
I
get
to say a little.
a little.
You know, a little.
Hey, God. Should I give you guys the answer?
Please just give us.
A tenth.
Tenth.
A tenth.
There's no way in this
You
world I would
stick
have
pole.
gotten that.
Okay,
There's
this one, you
no
guys better
way
get this
In
one.
this world, I would have
Because you use
thought
it.
of that.
You use it almost on a daily basis.
If it's not hairbrush or
Are you
makeup,
Yes. What
they-
4-letter word begins with F and ends with K? And if you can't get it, you can always use your hands.
fuck you used to eat.
Thank you! Finally got one!
why does it
I tried.
feel like I'm not the innocent?
Because the word fuck is still in my head.
Exactly.
When you say you do it every day, I'm like, okay.
All right.
think
3
of
more
it.
questions, guys. 3 more
Okay.
questions. What 3-letter word starts with an S and ends with X and has a vowel in the middle?
And how's
As
A vowel in the middle.
6.
Well done.
You know what I did?
What?
You know your head.
I had to say A-E-I-O-U. Okay, sax. It might not be sax. Socks. No, there's nothing. Socks. Sex. 6. I'm innocent.
She's not. She's not. All right.
I'm an angel.
Are you guys ready for the next?
What?
I start with a P and end with O-R-N. I'm a major player in the film industry. What am I?
O-R-N.
Gosh, I've seen this actually in a video. No,
No, not
there's
pass-
nothing like
no.
passport. Nope.
Nope.
So you said it starts with P and it's a what?
It starts with P and it ends with
O-R-N.
O-R-N.
But popcorn. I knew I had seen this somewhere. Popcorn.
All right. Are you guys ready for the last one?
Yes.
All right. When I go in, I can cause some pain. I'll fill your holes when you ask me to. I also ask that you spit and not swallow. What am I?
Just say
Sperm.
Oh. No.
injection.
No. Injection is asking you to spit.
I don't know. Wait.
Let me read it again. When I go in,
Mm.
I can cause some pain.
Mm.
I feel your holes when you ask me to. I ask that you spit and not swallow. What am I?
Where you're getting your
Tampon.
tooth filled. Yeah, you're getting your tooth filled.
You're very close. You're very close.
Braces.
No.
Brushing.
No. It's the person that does it for you.
Dentist.
It's the person that does it for you. All right, out of good faith, Soul Spice, please give me one. Give me one to do. Out of
Just
good,
you do
yes,
it.
just me. Let's
And
see.
this.
I'll show you guys that I'm the innocent one.
No, we all know you're not.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's made of rubber, handed out at some schools,
I hope you not see the answer.
and exists to prevent mistakes?
Okay, by default, I'm
It's
thinking
a rubber, right? It's been handed out at
an
schools.
eraser.
Did you see? Please let me look for
She
one.
No,
literally
I have to
scrolled
see.
down. She scrolled down. An
the last
eraser.
one.
I actually thought about a condom, but I was like, it's school. But eraser.
No, but don't they?
No, school.
Okay, what is super hard goes into and what is super hard and goes into a tiny hole?
Yeah?
Super hard, but it goes into a tiny hole.
That is super hard. but it goes
Very
into
hard,
the-
but the hole is tiny and it goes into it direct.
Isn't the way so supposed to say the question?
Yeah,
She has-
right there.
she
And
has
you can
sexualized-
actually lubricate the hole
Hey, wait.
for it to go in.
She has sexualized it.
But you know you can lubricate the hole, right?
Yes, you can.
You can.
actually.
You can lubricate the whole.
Yeah, it's very hard, and
It's
it
very
goes
hard.
in.
It goes
And it
into a
goes-
tiny
And
hole.
twist left or right.
It turns.
It can go 360, 90 degrees, anyhow.
A key, khaki.
You got a
the
key.
key. How did you even come?
I don't know. I went to come like, okay, but can you lubricate the whole?
Yes, you can
Yeah, when
lubricate
you
it.
oil,
Oil
regular
it.
keys, if you padlock.
Yeah, okay, wow, a key. See, I'm innocent, guys.
So you actually got all your questions.
Yes, thank
I
you.
did
I told you
too.
guys I'm the innocent one.
I
but
did
yeah,
to the point I got.
Yeah.
Producers.
you.
I
a
got
little,
out my own.
a
I'm
little.
innocent.
She was busy whispering a little.
I think we're actually all innocent as married women.
Yes.
Who,
yes.
we or
all of
you?
us. All of us.
Yeah.
All right,
You'll be
guys.
shocked I'm better than you. I'm very innocent.
I really
I
sincerely
could actually. I
doubt
believe her.
that.
now.
I'm
I
very
doubt it.
innocent.
I believe her.
I
now.
doubt it.
Why?
I doubt it.
Why?
I doubt
Because
it.
of my looks and my profession.
No, not because of the things you have said on this show.
You say them at home. Don't worry.
But I
You're
learned them in
innocent.
school. Don't you think?
Okay, guys. All right, guys. So this brings us to the end of today's episode. I had the best time. I was shocked. I was surprised. I was happy. I was confused. I was everything in this episode. And that's all thanks to Soul Spice. Thank you once again for being
Thank
part
you
of
for
today's
having
show.
me.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the show. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.